Hi, thanks for joining me. It's Resurrection Sunday. I'm dressed up because I'm about to go to church, and whether you're going to church or you're sitting home watching from church, hey, I'm glad you're here. Now, as we talk about Resurrection Sunday, you may not be aware as to why this is such a big deal for us in the church community. And so let me give you like a 30-second history lesson. Here we go.
And we've reached the end of Jesus' long road trip to Jerusalem. He's arrived.
So he rides a donkey down the Mount of Olives towards the city, and all these crowds are forming, and people are singing, "Praise the King who comes in the name of the Lord." They're laying down their cloaks in front of him.
Why all this royal treatment?
Okay, so Israel's ancient prophets promised that one day God himself would arrive and rescue his people and rule the world. Other times, the prophet spoke about a coming king who would ride into Jerusalem to bring justice and peace.
So Jesus is activating all these hopes that he's that king, and everyone's ecstatic.
Well, not everybody. The religious leaders, they think Jesus is a threat to their power, and so they're not happy. But even more striking, Jesus himself is distraught. He's actually weeping as he rides.
Yeah, why?
Well, Jesus can see what is coming. He knows that he won't be accepted as Israel's king, and he knows that Israel will keep going down a destructive path, neglecting the poor, stirring up rebellion against their Roman oppressors, and he knows that it will lead to death. It breaks his heart.
And it riles him up. The first thing he does in Jerusalem is march into the temple courts, and he drives out the money changers, disrupting the entire sacrificial system.
Yeah, he's staging a prophetic protest, and he stands in the center of the courtyard, shouting out words from Israel's ancient prophets. This is supposed to be a place of worship, but you've made it a den of rebels.
A den of rebels?
Yeah, he's quoting from the prophet Jeremiah, who stood in this same spot, the center of Israel's religious and political power. And he offered the same critique of Israel's leaders, that they're rebellious and corrupt.
And they get the message and start to plan to have him killed.
Which is no surprise to Jesus. In fact, he planned that all of this would happen during Passover.
This is the Holy Week when Jewish people celebrate their ancient story of how God liberated them from slavery and invited them into a covenant relationship.
And so Jesus uses the symbols of Passover to reveal the meaning of his coming death. The broken bread was his broken body, and the wine was his blood that would establish a new covenant relationship between God and Israel. Jesus was going to die for his people and open up a new way forward.
After the meal, Jesus takes his disciples to a garden to pray.
And he struggles with the very human desire to save his life instead of sacrificing it, but he overcomes this temptation.
And it's here where the religious leaders, with the temple guards, find him and arrest him.
Now, Jerusalem was being ruled by the Roman Empire, and so the temple leaders couldn't execute Jesus without permission from their Roman governor, a man named Pontius Pilate. And so they make up this charge that Jesus is a rebel king stirring up revolution against the Roman emperor.
Pilate asks Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?"
And Jesus answers, "You say so."
So Pilate can see that Jesus is an innocent man and he doesn't deserve death.
But the leaders keep insisting that he is dangerous, so they negotiate a compromise. Pilate will release an actual rebel against Rome, a man named Barabbas, instead of Jesus. And so the innocent is handed over in the place of the guilty.
Jesus is taken away with two other accused criminals and nailed to a Roman execution device. And people are mocking him. Hey, if you're the Messianic king, save yourself and us.
But Jesus loved his enemies to the very end, offering hope to one of the criminals dying beside him. And he even prayed for his executors. "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing."
And then the sky darkened as an innocent man died the death of a rebel.
And then Jesus cried out with ancient words from Israel's Psalms, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And then Jesus died, innocent and alone.
Okay, hopefully that lesson made sense in terms of Jesus, Son of God, died so that he could conquer death, comes back, lives, resurrects so that we can have life in him. In fact, the reason why the resurrection is so important and why we place so much of an emphasis around that is just Jesus dying is not enough. It's his power over death that changes everything. In fact, in 1 Corinthians 15, Paul talks about this idea. And he says, if Jesus didn't resurrect, if he didn't defeat death, well, then there's nothing to this. Everything hinges on the resurrection, because if If Jesus really did resurrect from the grave, power over death, if he is that powerful, that's someone worth serving. That's someone worth giving our lives to, because he truly would be the God of the universe. And so you and me are left with one of three questions. Who is this Jesus character? Is he a liar? Is he a lunatic? Or is he a Lord? Did Jesus just make all these claims being the Son of God? And is he just a liar trying to get you and me to come to church and to give money and to dedicate our lives to something that's a total lie? Is he a lunatic? Did he actually believe this and he was just a crazy person? Because you and I both know there's a lot of crazy people out there. There are a lot of crazy people, kind of like this guy. There are a lot of crazy people out there. And so is Jesus just a lunatic? Or is he Lord? Is he the Lord, the God who created heaven and earth, who has come to rescue you and me from our bondage? Well, I truly believe that he's that last one, Lord. But that's the question. That's the question that faces us every day, of whether you're going to believe Jesus is a liar, a lunatic, or a Lord. Before we close out, I want to show you something. And as you watch this, process through what that would mean. Do you trust that Jesus came to save you, that he died and resurrected for you, that he should be your Lord?
Yeah, the New Testament makes this powerful claim that Jesus' death was not final. He rose from the dead. And so he's the sacrifice who broke the power of death and evil, which means that he lives on to offer his life to anyone who will accept it. He is the perfect sacrifice to which all the previous sacrifices were pointing all along. The very power that brought Jesus back from the dead is the same power that can deal with the evil in our own lives and transform us into people who lead lives of love and peace.
Well, thanks for joining with us today. I hope you keep coming back, especially as we have more and more services in person. We'd love to get to know you better. Thank you so much. Have a great day.